All right, everyone, welcome back. Today we're going deep on open data and AI, kind of like two sides of the same coin, you know?
Yeah.
We've got this really interesting article from the GoDA Summit website, came out just this month, called The Role of Open Data in Accelerating AI Development.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and they make this point about open data being like fuel for AI.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Really powerful image, right? And we're going to unpack that and see how it plays out in things like healthcare, even climate change.
Huge implications.
Totally. But first, maybe let's just level set a bit, make sure we're all on the same page. So can you break down what open data actually means, like in practice?
Sure. At its simplest, open data is about making data sets freely available to anyone.
Like no cost, no restrictions.
Exactly. Just pure information, accessible, waiting to be used.
So it's less about data being locked away in journals or government databases and more like, I don't know, a public library anyone can walk into.
That's a great way to put it. And that accessibility is key because it allows for, the democratization of information.
I like that.
Researchers, developers, everyday people, they can all tap into this pool of knowledge and build on what's already there.
So much potential, right? But I'm curious about the impact we're seeing right now. Could you give us a concrete example of how open data is making a difference?
Well, let's take healthcare. Imagine a new disease outbreak. With open data, doctors could access data sets on, say, patient outcomes and medical research from all over the world.
Globally.
And by feeding that data into AI models, you can start to identify patterns, predict how the disease might spread, leads to faster diagnosis, more effective treatments.
Wow, that's amazing. Literally saving lives with data.
Oh.
But it makes me think about how much information AI must need. Like, it's got to be a lot, right? Why is data so crucial for AI to develop?
You're spot on. AI systems are essentially learning machines, and they learn and improve through the data they're trained on.
So the more data, the better.
Well, it's not just about quantity. The quality and diversity of that data are really what determines how well AI performs.
Right. So going back to that fuel analogy, open data is giving AI not just the fuel, but the right mix of fuel.
Exactly, to handle more and more complex tasks.
Makes sense. So more fuel, more power, better performance. But what about accuracy? I mean, doesn't bias come into play with AI?
Absolutely. And that's one of the big challenges in AI development. You see, smaller, closed data sets, they often reflect a limited perspective, which can skew the results.
I see.
But with open data, you can train AI models on these massive, more diverse data sets. And that helps reduce the risk of, perpetuating harmful stereotypes or making unfair decisions.
So basically expanding AI's worldview, making it more aware.
Exactly. And this ties into how open data can boost economic growth. Think about startups, smaller companies. They often can't afford to collect tons of data themselves.
Right, they don't have those resources.
But open data gives them access to the same high-quality data that the big players are using. Levels the playing field.
That's huge for innovation, right? Gives everyone a shot.
Absolutely. But, with all these benefits, there are some challenges, too. Things we need to think about carefully when making data so readily available.
Okay, yeah. Like what are some of the concerns around open data?
Yeah.
It's like we're unlocking all this amazing potential, but also need to be smart about it.
Exactly. There are definitely some complexities to consider, like data privacy, for one.
Right, because if we're making data open to everyone,
we have to make sure we're protecting sensitive information. Can't have that being misused. Think about things like health records,
Oh, for sure. Those are super sensitive.
Anonymization is key there, and secure storage. Got to keep that patient confidentiality while still letting researchers access valuable data.
It's a tough balance, right? Openness and privacy.
It is. And then there's the whole security aspect.
Oh, yeah. Like what if the data falls into the wrong hands?
Exactly. Data breaches, those can be devastating. So strong cybersecurity measures, those are non-negotiable. Encryption, access controls, you name it. Constant vigilance is key.
Sounds like a big job.
It is, but it's essential if we want open data to truly flourish. Makes me think about the Global Open Data and AI Summit next year.
Oh, right, in London.
Yeah. According to this article, it's going to bring together all these experts, policymakers, innovators to discuss these exact challenges.
Sounds like a can't-miss event. What kind of topics do you think they'll be focusing on?
Well, given what we've been talking about, I'd say ethical frameworks for data governance will be big.
Makes sense.
Standardizing data formats, that's crucial for interoperability, making sure different systems can talk to each other.
Right. Got to have that compatibility.
And of course, international protocols for data security and privacy. Got to have those in place.
So basically, laying the groundwork for open data to grow responsibly.
Exactly. Global dialogue, finding solutions that benefit everyone. Oh, and another point that often gets overlooked, intellectual property rights.
Oh, that's interesting. How do those play into open data?
It's tricky, but essentially we need to make sure that while we're promoting open access, we're also respecting the creators, the
All
innovators.
right, their ownership of the data.
Exactly. So clear licensing agreements, proper attribution, those are super important. Got to create a balance where data sharing and intellectual property can both thrive.
A lot of moving parts for sure.
Yeah, multifaceted challenge needs careful thought, collaboration from everyone involved.
Well, as we wrap up this part of our dive, it's clear that open data is a game changer, but it's not without its complexities, right? Any final thoughts on this whole relationship between open data and AI?
Yeah, it's almost like a kind of a push and pull, right?
Searching game.
We have this incredible resource, all this potential to fuel these groundbreaking AI advancements, maybe even solve some of, humanity's biggest challenges. But we got to be careful too.
Right. Can't just jump in head first.
No, got to think about those ethical implications, the potential risks. It's like uncharted territory in a way.
Yeah, we're kind of making the map as we go.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes it so exciting. We need that creativity, that critical thinking, that collaborative spirit, if you will, to really unlock the potential of open data, but, also safeguard against those unintended consequences.
So zooming out, big picture, what are some key takeaways for our listeners today? What do you hope they walk away with?
I think it's crucial to understand that open data isn't just some, technical thing.
Yeah, it's bigger than that.
It's a shift in how we think about knowledge, about sharing, about collaboration. It's about recognizing the power of that collective knowledge and then creating systems that allow us to share it, use it responsibly.
It's like moving from information scarcity to abundance.
Exactly. And that brings huge opportunities for everything, for innovation, for progress. Imagine a world where all publicly funded research, all that data is openly accessible. Think of the breakthroughs we could have, the advancements, societal improvement.
Wow. Yeah. It's almost hard to fathom.
It really makes you wonder what we're missing out on, right? What limitations we're imposing on ourselves by not fully embracing open data.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. What if the cure for, I don't know, some disease is hidden in some data set that's just locked away somewhere? What could we achieve if we break down those barriers, let those brilliant minds from everywhere collaborate?
It's exciting and honestly a little intimidating to think about.
It is. But I think we're on the verge of something truly transformative.
I agree.
But it's up to all of us, right, to shape this future responsibly. We have to ask those tough questions, demand transparency, push for ethical data practices.
So as we wrap up, what's the one thing, the one big idea you hope sticks with our listeners today?
I'd say this. Open data is powerful, a real tool for progress. But like any tool, it needs careful handling, responsible use. Our decisions today, they're shaping the world of tomorrow. Let's choose wisely.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing your expertise. It's been a real eye-opener.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Always happy to talk about this stuff.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring this world of open data and AI. Check out the resources. Get into those conversations. Don't be afraid to, really think critically about what it all means.
The future is being written right now, and we're all part of that.
That's a great point. Thanks again for tuning in to our deep dive. Until next time, keep learning and keep asking those questions.